So welcome to Brands Hatch for the first round of season 3 of the DTCC. We've got the grid on the screen. We see we've got Chris Lewis on pole, second pole in this series, just waiting for the lights to turn from red to green. We got Boulay, the debutant, alongside him on the front row. And away we go. It's a great start from Boulay, and it's a terrible start from Sykes, and we got contact, and I think we got Ross off. We got Ross off at the top of Paddock Hill Bend, deep in the gravel, while the rest of the field goes up to Druids. A terrible start for the first race for Ross, who finished 3rd last year in the championship. So the rest of the field continues to go down the hill out of Druids and Graham Hill Bend. We're now following the leader, Boulay, who's taking the lead, and we're on board now with Sykes, who's chasing after his chief rival from last year. And we've got Le Goyen has gone off from 5th. A great start from him for last on the grid, but he's off at Surtees. So as we go up the hill into Hawthorns, the order is Boulay, Lewis, Pengelly, Sykes, Coleman, Charters. No, Pierce in front of the Charters. So, down the drop into Dingledale, one of the trickiest corners on the track, into 30, but Sykes is all over the back of Pengelly. We go on board with Pengelly, looking back at Sykes. So there's a little bit of dirt up, this comes out of Surtees, down to Clearways, end of lap 1. So, Boulay crosses the line first in front of Lewis. And we're going to go back for a replay of the start. Let's see what happens. So on board now with Coleman, waiting for the lights to turn. Away we go. Great start from Le Goyen, and Sykes had a terrible start. And yeah, Coleman was trying to go for the inside, understandably going for the inside of slow starting Sykes, and where the track narrowed, it hit the barrier and cannoned into Sykes. We're watching it again. There goes, hits the barrier into Sykes, he hits Le Goyen into Ross. Ross completely unlucky there on the outside. Had no chance to avoid that. Now we're going on board, I think, with Boulay. Here we go. Waiting for the lights to turn. Great start from him, a terrible start from Sykes. Yet again having a really bad start. He seems to, there we go. Contact from Coleman to Sykes to Le Goyen to Ross, and into the gravel. Now we go replay of we go into Druids for the first time. Boulay already opened up a bit of a lead. Over the line, Boulay across the line first, followed by Lewis. Then we cut to 3rd, we can see Sykes is right behind Pengelly going to the paddock. Bit of a lunge, no, up the hill to Druids. Is he going to make a move up the inside? No, Pengelly covers the inside, Sykes switches the outside, see if we can get the overlap coming out, but probably won't work. We go down the hill into Graham Hill Bend. These two obviously had a big battle for the championship last year. Sykes is looking for a move into Surtees. No, and actually Pengelly has a really good run through Surtees. Gives himself a bit of breathing space. Obviously these two had a big scrap for the championship last year, but actually never really battled that much on track themselves. So this is interesting to see the two of them finally scrapping. It's also worth noting, if you're new to the DTCC, that the top 4 carry ballast to the tune of up to 400 kilos. So for the first race of the season, the ballast is worked out based on the championship position. So Pengelly is carrying 400 kilos. And Sykes is carrying roughly 300 kilos. You can see that's why Sykes has got a little bit of a pace advantage, because Pengelly is running so heavy. As we go into the paddock anyway with the leaders, drop down the hill, and Boulay's gone wide, and Boulay is putting the gravel, and Boulay spun out of the lead, and he's restarting now. He's still pointing the wrong way, and Sykes, Pengelly and Coleman all but go through, so Boulay has dropped down to, I think, at least 5th place. Incredible. And as we go through Druids, Pengelly gets a bit sideways, his tyres must be starting to go off, and that gives Sykes a bit of a run, but then Coleman's trying to get past Sykes as well. So we've got a 4-way scrap now for 2nd place, with Pengelly, who I think is suffering a bit with his tyres now. A bit of the cork in the bottle is holding everyone up, so let's see what happens. But again, Pengelly opens up a bit of a lead through Surtees. I mean, Sykes has got Coleman all over the back of him, and Coleman, of course, is not running any ballast, so has a speed advantage. Coleman goes through into third, but then Sykes comes back down the inside into Hawthorns. Have a bit of a tussle. Those two, of course, came together famously or infamously at Laguna Seca last year. And I spoke to Sykes, and I think he was still a bit aggrieved with himself that he left the door slightly open in that incident. But as we go Dingle down, Boulet's now gone past Coleman, and we look ahead up to third, and it looks like Sykes and Pengelly have touched, and Pengelly has lost it, he's gone wide, and we've got contact between four of them, I think. And there's Ross, who was in seventh a lap ago, now goes into second. Wow, incredible. So we thought this might happen, that eventually Pengelly's tyres going off, so we've got a replay now. We'll see what happens. So Pengelly's going to Dingledale, and he goes, he runs a little bit wide, gets a bit on the grass. That gives Sykes a run into Hawthorns, and Sykes puts it down the inside, and I think that was inevitable. I think Sykes was getting a bit frustrated, and whilst the front two were letting themselves trying to sort itself out, then we have Coleman and Boulet then ran into the back of him, so we've got a completely changed order. So Ross is now going to second, and we've got Coleman into third, and then Pengelly's dropped down to fourth. Well, I think Pengelly will probably likely go into the pits. Yes, Pengelly's going to the pits. So Sykes is going into fourth, with Charters right behind him in fifth. And it's Charters going to have a go. Of course, Charters is not carrying any ballast, whereas Sykes is carrying around 300. So we think it's about a second per 100 kilos. So it's a significant pace disadvantage. And of course, the other downsides. Well, and Charters, big tank slapper there coming out of Druids, but he held that really well. And we're going to go, back on. We're on board now with Charters to watch that. So he thinks having a look inside the Druid, but he's a bit too far back. And I think he just gets on the power a little bit too early, coming down the hill. Yeah, there we go. Big snap of oversteer. But he manages to catch it and carry on. Great save there from Charters. So so 100 kilos is worth about 1 second in terms of lap time. So, but also it increases the tyre degradation massively. So double hit for the guys who are carrying lots of ballast. So anyway, let's try and take a breather now. We've let the race settle down a bit. So Lewis has now, I think, escaped into the lead. He's got a big lead now because basically everyone behind him has been caught up in some kind of accident. So we're now following Ross into paddock. He's now into second with Coleman chasing after him. He was a little bit further away, so Ross has got a little bit of breathing space now. But as soon as I say that, curse to the commentators, Ross has gone off into the gravel at Druids. So that means he's more likely to lose his second place to Coleman. I think they say yes, Coleman goes through. So Ross, slight mistake going into Druids there, braked himself ever so slightly, and then we can see a replay. Yeah, he gets into the gravel. As he comes back on, Coleman takes the usual line coming out and just slots into second in front of Ross. So a little bit of a mistake there, and Ross again under power coming out of Graham Hill has also again lost the back end. So I think he must be similar to Pengelly. He must be suffering from some tyre deg. His rear tyres must be going. So Ross goes down to third. That means we've got Sykes back into fourth now, with Charters in fifth. The recovery and Boulet is sixth, and Pengelly, after the dramatic lap 4, is now down to seventh, with just Pearson behind him in eighth. So Lewis, I think, is now fairly safe as we watched. Yeah, Sykes is going in now, obviously with the increased weight that Sykes and Pengelly carried over the rest of the field. Ross is also carrying 200 kilos. Obviously their tyre deg is higher than everyone else, so that they have to make more stops. So I believe also that Charters is also carrying 100 kilos. As we cut to the Jägermeister liveried orange Mercedes of Charters. So back onto the track comes Sykes back in fourth, I believe. Yeah, it's fourth after he stopped, and we've got the leader as well, has also stopped. Now focusing on Coleman, who's now got Sykes chasing after him. Now, of course, Sykes has got fresher tyres, so he should have a pace advantage here. So we'll see if Sykes can close that gap down. So as we go into Graham Hill Bend, down the bottom straight, on board with Sykes now going into Surtees. That gap is slowly coming down. Sykes is up on his fastest personal best, which is, as you'd expect now, he's got fresh tyres on. Top bend of the circuit now. They come down the hill, down to Dingledale, probably the trickiest corner on the track. Yeah, you can see Sykes is going to hand over fist, and just up ahead there's Ross. So we've got second, third, and fourth all within one shot, and yeah, so Sykes is really beginning to use those tyres now. Commons are probably starting to go off. Commons got wide going to clearways. That means Sykes is going to run down the inside. But of course, Commons got the weight advantage, so can he pull ahead? So we're at side by side. We go down into the Paddock Hill Bend for the 8th time, and Sykes has done it. So Sykes makes a move into third place, into second place now. Because Ross has just gone into the pits. So Sykes has gone from 4th to 2nd with that move on Coleman into Paddock. Meanwhile, Ross has just made a stop and is now back in 5th. So let's see what Ross can do to regain his positions after dropping effectively 3 places in that pit stop, which shows just how tight the field is at the moment. So even after nearly 8 laps of racing, over halfway, a pit stop which will only cost you probably 8 seconds, so it's still making all the difference. So Ross coming up onto the back straight, getting the tow from Charters, and just breezes past. So it looks like yeah, it looks like Charters, I think, let Ross through there. Sounded like he lifted going into Hawthorn. So Ross back into 4th, and Charters there unfortunately just lost the back end coming out of Hawthorn's, and unfortunately has ended up in the gravel up at Westfield. So will that give Pengelly a chance to catch him? Pengelly is now down in 6th but recovering. Obviously he's running with full weight, and he's probably suffering from severe tyre deg, which means he's having to stop every 3 laps. 3 to 4 laps. So can he make a move on Charters? Let's see what Pengelly can do. So looking back at Pengelly now from Charters rear camera, closes up a lot under braking into clearways. Will he be close enough to have a run down the pit straight into Paddock? On board we go. Coming to the braking. Charters covers the inside. Can Pengelly have a look? No, he's not close enough, but he's really closed up now. Is he close enough to have a look into the Druids? Charters covers the inside line, really close behind him, but no, I don't think he's got the opportunity there. Can he do anything coming down there? And Charters, again, I thought his tyres must be going, his rears must be going off again. Oversteer coming out of the slower corners, and he just touched the curb, spun out, lost the rear end, and goes through into 5th. Now on board with Lewis, we haven't seen much of him today, well out in front, just about to lap me going. There is Sykes in 2nd now, relatively safe by the looks of it in 2nd. Back to Lewis, and Coleman has spun, I think going into clearways, and that's allowed Ross to take 3rd, so Ross moves onto the podium. Coleman drops down to 4th. He must be again suffering from tyres as well. He goes off at the entry of Paddock as well, so Coleman really is beginning to struggle now with his tyres. So he's now dropped down to 4th place. Meanwhile, Charters stops and drops down to 5th. That moves Pengelly up to 5th and Boulay up to 6th. So Lewis into Surtees, a little bit wide, but a huge lead. Doesn't have to rush now. Massive lead over Sykes. And meanwhile, what we just focus on there, I think we've got Sykes and Ross extremely close. I think Sykes has just had his 2nd pit stop. Meanwhile, focusing on Pengelly, as he's got Boulay right behind him. Can Boulay, with the extra weight advantage he has, which is up to 400 kilos, can he take advantage of Pengelly's weight disadvantage, particularly which plays a particularly big part in a track like Brands, because there's lots of accelerating, decelerating, and lots of corners, so obviously that weight plays a huge part in tyre deg, and as well as increasing the braking distances and slowing acceleration. So here we go, looking back from Pengelly into Boulay. Is Boulay going to have a look into Hawthorn? No, thinks about it, but wasn't quite close enough. But he's clearly got a pace advantage because of that weight ballast that Pengelly, for winning last year's championship, is carrying. So obviously though, with the and Pengelly again goes a little bit wide to Dingledale, and Boulay dives on the inside again, and again almost a replica of what happened with Sykes and Pengelly. Boulay dives down the inside. Pengelly was a little bit slow coming out of Dingledale. Missed the apex a little bit and touched the grass coming out. Brule has a run on him, takes a dive down the inside. I think that one was a little bit more clear cut, but again, Pengelly gets a little bit of a side swipe and puts him off on the grass coming out of Sterling. So that's twice in this race that Pengelly has had he's been pushed off at Sterling. I wonder if he'll refer that one as well to the stewards. That was a little bit less clear cut, more clear cut, I think, in terms of, or less clear cut in terms of who was at fault. But nevertheless, Pengelly down to 6th, Brule up to 5th. So now back to the battle for 2nd place. So still everything to play for here. We've got a lap and a half to go. We've got Sykes and Ross battling as Ross is carrying 200 kilos of weight, so he'll also be impacted by the success ballast. But obviously Sykes has got more weight, which will be slowing him down, and also probably more tyre deck too, which means that Ross has a real chance here to try and get up to 2nd place on the podium and push Sykes down to 3rd. Now, can he look after his tyres enough? Can he line Sykes up? And Ross has got off a little bit. Managed to hold it, managed to save it, which is great because he could easily lose it at Dingle Scene of a lot of action today, but I think that might have given Sykes just a little breather he needs. There's still not much in it, so Sykes has still got to drive a good last lap, but he's got a little bit of breathing space now, which might make all the difference. So can Ross close on enough? Can he put Sykes under enough pressure in the last remaining half a lap now? I think the answer is probably no. So we switch back to Lewis, who's had an absolutely pristine race, his 2nd win of his DTCC career. And Lewis crosses the line now, easy winner, a fantastic drive by Lewis. Crosses the line to take the 1st win of season 3. And we cut back to Sykes, who looks like he's pulled a little bit of a gap to Ross. So assuming that there's no dramas in the last couple of corners, it looks like Sykes is going to... And yeah, there could be. We have Pierce, Sykes' teammate Pierce, who's about to be lapped. And we remember what happened last time. Pierce was being lapped by Sykes in the last couple of corners. Hopefully now they're teammates, there won't be any drama. So Pierce moves across, Sykes crosses the line. So Sykes goes 2nd, Ross takes 3rd, and then we've got Boulay, who's made it up to 4th. He's somewhere past Coleman. So good recovery from Boulay. So he's going to cross the line, but he gets a little bit side, and it looks like Boulay, he's slowing down, he's letting Coleman get 4th. Interesting tactics there from the newcomer into the series. So he slows down, Coleman gets 4th, Boulay finishes 5th, and then we got Pengelly, who will be a bit disappointed with his 6th place. Obviously has high hopes coming into this race, but carrying a lot of ballast. And then we got Charters just coming across the line for 7th, and we've already had Pierce and Nugget Nagorian finishing for 8th. So what a great first race of the season. And race 2, which we feature in a reverse grid, will be starting on the next broadcast.